Okay. Well, how does the mic sound now? I know it's going to take a little while you get the streams back. And good evening, Fluffy Twiglet. Good evening. Dear. I can't really. Right. Here I am waiting, and of course, I'm back. Are you able to hear me properly though now? Or is the mic still weird? Where have I been? I've not been anywhere. I've just had some really critical stuff to do at work, which has meant some really long hours. And I really, to be honest, have not felt... You can hear me, great! Just needed to plug the mic back in again. That's good. Just some really long hours, and I mean really long hours, and I really did not feel like streaming at all, to be honest. But tonight, starting to get that feeling. I did tweet a couple of times. Unfortunately, just with working so hard, even tweeting didn't come into it. Aldel H, good evening and welcome. It's still a busy time, Fluffy Twiglet. It's going to be, it's I won't say touch and go. It's going to be variable for a little while before I get back into actually streaming. The the only way for it to get really certain is suddenly to get partnership with thousands of people subscribing. Then I'd be quite regular because I'd be able to give up working. But at the moment, of course, the work has to come first. But thank you. And how's things going with you guys? Clary, you're getting closer to your... Yes, I was just about to say. You're getting closer to your changing career. And how's college doing? University, Fluffy Twiglet and Aldel H, how are you? I said hello to everybody now. I suppose I should do some of this stuff. I could probably do with focusing the camera as well. It looks a little off to me, or it could be just my... No, it was. I got one of those stands that you found. Here was you, Clary Book. Yes, Claire. Nice blue colour. I've got two of them, but I've only put one up at the moment. Yeah, I've got this week and next week, and then I'm off for Christmas. I only have 2 weeks there. Well, okay, Aldel H. I was about to say everybody starts university each year when they're at university, but that sort of suggests that you've taken a long break. Oh, my memory's terrible at the moment. Excuse me if you guys have told me things and I forget, because A, it's been a long break, but B, if my head's down here, okay, I'm up to here with work at the moment. This one, which is on the big camera here, is doing quite well. I've got the screw thread on the end doesn't quite match the standard screw thread for a microphone stand. Because I've got well, you can see there's this adapter here. It's supposed to screw onto a microphone stand connector, and it doesn't quite. It does, but it's not quite the right thread, so they're using something weird, but it's actually fastened on okay. I am reasonably pleased with it. I would have preferred I like the metal mount. but it does tend to rock a little bit like that in the mount. But apart from that, it's really nice. It's a bit easier to get into some really interesting positions rather than using the snake that I had, well, still got. Yeah. I'll put the microphone on one of them sometime. Instead of it being in front of me, I can then hang it up top here and point down, so it just clears the desk a bit more. You have an extension on your comic project. Does that mean that you couldn't do it and they've let you go longer, or they've just decided to change things? I'm glad you like yours, Claire. I haven't had a chance to watch Twitch at all, really. For the past couple of weeks, I've watched the odd YouTube video, just keeping up with a couple of people, and that's about it. Oh, you were going to be a pharmacist. But you didn't like it. Oh, okay. See, now we're going into biology. Quite, I was saying, in some ways they're quite similar for a bit, aren't they? They've changed their mind. Yeah, I watched the last one this weekend. Didn't actually watched it a little bit late, but yes, an interesting ending. We shall see what happens at Christmas. I did watch the trailers, but I can't for the life of me remember anything about them. Yeah, this needs to darken off coming off of here. Okay. Yeah, it could be a Whitworth. I can't remember if Whitworth is English or American, but it's old stuff, isn't it? Whitworth threads, AF thread. I used to know them all. And you've got an American. Well, American standard quarter inch, whatever. English American, same, I think. Anyway, it doesn't really matter as long as it works. I haven't really got the space to put two here. They probably interfere with each other. We'll find out. You want to get into cell and molecular biology? Chemistry. All right. Well, yeah, pharmacy wouldn't do that, would it? It's all about drugs and things like that. Yeah, she didn't know who he is to start with, though, by the looks of it. Whitworth. Okay, you know more about it than I do. Well, you know more about it than I do. Yeah, you do know more about it than I do, Claire. I was going to say. But that's... Oh, it's an 8th. Yeah, the adapt. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm thinking that's probably what I've got on the bottom of there. It's probably that probably is a camera adapter. I can't actually remember when I got it. I obviously told you at the time, but I never thought about that. Yeah, because it's the other thing I potentially could do is on the top of the black bit that goes over the top of the desk, just put a couple of pieces of thin wood there and let the arm sit on that, then it'd sit. But yeah, Uh, I can't work on the lion and read chat at the same time. Okay, I've got it. I've got the camera plugged. The bottom of the camera's into a pan head adapter. That's what that is sat on the top there. It's a ball head, so I literally can just loosen that off and I can spin it in any sort of direction. Probably don't really need it now with that head on it, but it's a nice thing just to be able to swing it around. Yeah, you've got the same camera. You've been spending pennies, mind you. If you're going to broadcast what you're doing in your new career, then it's a good idea. Might we get a visit from Junior? I don't think so. No, in fact, he was just crying at the door to be let in and not wanting to come in. That was downstairs, but no, he's at the moment he's got a favourite space downstairs. He's not been up for a while. Felix actually is possibly the one that we might see. He's quite partial at the moment to lying either on the chair that I'm sat in or the desk at the other side of the room. I keep having to move keyboards and things just because he lies on them, and then generally speaking, with it being a works PC, it needs a login, and if he lays on the keyboard, it exceeds the number of logins, and I have to start resetting passwords and things. Oh, and a blue snowball. Okay. They're supposed to be good mics. I've no experience of them. Supposed to be good mics from people that broadcast with them. I kind of wanted a slightly different mic for me, which is so I don't have one of those. But yeah, I've already spent about what? Well, I can't. I was about to say how long I've been streaming, but of course I bounced it a little while ago, so about 20 minutes. And I don't think I've put any colour down on this piece of wood. What little free time I've had whilst in the past couple of weeks, I've concentrated a little bit on the jewellery stuff, as Moobot just reminded me. Yeah, that's what although it's not a brass one, it's a silver one. That's what I've got on the end of here, and that's what that adapter was screwed onto quite nicely. It's the same 3/8 thread, but it seems like it's possibly just this particular arm. I haven't tried the other one yet. It just didn't want to screw in quite properly, so. Yes, I've been trying to do a little bit more sort of website stuff, but it's been really hard trying to do that, feeling tired. Yeah. I think in the not next week, the week after, when I'm on holiday, I may get a chance to do some streaming during the day. What I'll hopefully be getting a chance to do then is to actually make some more of the chainmail jewellery. and actually managed to get build up a stock. Need to crack on making some new designs to go. Yeah. Innovation. You gotta keep moving forward. Ladies are still doesn't really see the point of bits of cut up paper stuck in a picture frame, and why people would want to pay a lot of money for them. And yet she quite sees how people don't want to, but how people might pay lots of money for something like this. It's just a different form of art, but it's just not to her taste. She's downstairs, Fluffy Twiddler. It's a little bit warm upstairs for her here at the moment. The art of pyrography, the art of creating images using heat. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it took me a long time to work out the difference. You are right. You are right. So, which one's that? It's probably that one. Properties. You know, it's so easy to see things or not see things like that. Which, there we go. You've had four commissions. Wow, well done. Still prefer carving. Caving. Okay, you got me. I don't know what I really enjoy the jewellery stuff, to be honest. The chainmail and anything else, but you know, things like making new things like that, stretchy bracelets and the beading stuff. But the real problem has got to be to to keep being able to do things like that. I have to keep selling them. You're doing well already, aren't you? You've not changed careers yet, and already you're making progress, which is fantastic. I think actually the fact that I have had a couple of weeks off doing this has been quite beneficial. I was getting a bit tired of it. Yeah, postage is a yeah, getting your postage right. And your things are probably parcel post, aren't they? Because they're going to be too small or too big for large letter. And sorting from there are so many different ways of sending stuff out, especially if you're sending it just parcel force or post office. And the magic purple, yeah, I'm getting I'm getting better at photographing magic purple. There's magic purple in this one, but it's magic purple. Yeah, calculating all the product stuff is trying to think of everything. Postage and insurance, and if you want it, and one thing if you start getting really well into it, Claire, take a look at product liability insurance. Ooh, yeah, good pair of weighing scales as well is a good investment. That and standardised boxes. You now have to start looking for boxes. And if you ship into the States, customs declaration forms. It just keeps going on and on and on. Ah, okay, yeah, good, good move. Small parcel, yeah. Definitely a good move. Yeah, and don't forget your boxes weigh. So I know they don't weigh a lot, but they weigh some as well, and that can fool you. And packing, your packing material. What I've seen on a lot of forums in the past is people will weigh the product, they'll weigh the box, forget the packet, and that sometimes can weigh more than the item. Yeah, it does. Yeah, and if you add tracking on top of that as well, then it goes up. Luckily for me, with the jewellery, it's all large letter stuff, so I can get away with sort of quite relatively cheap postage, even internationally. Although I say relatively cheaply, I mean it's still, you know, like about £8, I think, to have a tracked letter internationally. So. So, Fluffy Twiglet, are you going to be marketing some of your paper now? You won't send something like that. Yeah. Well, with the value of yours, I agree. Some of my jewellery I wouldn't send. The Special Lady, for example, with the Swarovski crystals, that essentially won't go anywhere unless it's tracked. Just because of the value of it. You heard you did indeed. I was there's Claire there selling her art form and is going to be a millionaire within a couple of years. And you were making paper, and I wondered when you were going to start selling handmade paper. Chainmail's fun. You're not trying to dear. I kind of know that feeling. I know that feeling. Cuppa. Sounds interesting. Could do with one myself. Pity you can't send them through Twitch messaging. Let's have a look at a reference picture on this. Yeah, that's what I thought it looked like. Okay. Still undecided about the background on this. I don't actually think I'm going to make it dark. It's too much work. And I'm a bit lazy. But it does mean I need to do something about the muzzle here. That and the chin. Excuse me a second. Oh dear. Hopefully you weren't wearing headsets. Now I've probably got hiccups, which doesn't help. Yeah, I've got hiccups. Trying to do pyrography with hiccups is not the best thing going. You get lines all over the place. Ah dear. Yeah, well, maybe it'll go away in a bit. Let's, yeah. We've got to, yeah, okay, that's... What I'm going to do here is I'm just wanting to very slightly separate the main away from the face. So what I'm just doing is just darkening the join a little bit, and I'll just blend that back into the fur on the face. But it just gives it, extends the outline a little bit up there. And separates this side mane just away from the face, so its sort of head's gone down into it a little bit. Oh, no, I don't want Moobot to go away. You don't want Moobot to go away. What you want is all these thousands of people who are watching and who are, you know, silently watching in the background to go to that shop and buy lots of things. And that way then I can do more jewellery on the stream, and if they buy lots and lots and lots of things, I don't even need to go out to work. I can stay in and stream all the well, not all the time, but you know, stream instead of working, which will be working, but you know what I mean. You know, get people buying things. You want to see more art and stuff. And it saves Moobot doing it as well, of course. Saves me sort of mentioning it every 10 seconds in the stream. That might get a little bit irritating. I was going to do something about that. Okay, let's do something about his chin. Let's do something about his chin. So, switch pens. Blimey, is it that long since I've used this pen? I can smell dust burning off the end of the pen. Not as bad as hair, but I was kind of wanting him to have a whitish sort of chin, but I don't think I'll bother with that. So what we'll do here is apply, see how light a colour we can apply. Now then, first of all, is that dark enough yet to get rid of the pencil mark? Not quite. So I've got the pen turned right down, or this pen turned right down. Alt LH. That's alright. I mean, I have no interest in Arsenal or anybody else playing, but that's alright. I've just spent 2 weeks not being here. I can't say a great deal, can I? Actually, is it 2 weeks? Nearly 3 weeks, isn't it? Okay, so underneath of the chin, so the underneath of the chin will be slightly darker. Has MTS not been around? I keep seeing. Well, I've not. Literally, I've not been watching. Free, I keep seeing tweets from Free. Odd tweets, that is. But I had no idea he hadn't been around either. Blimey. It must be something catching. Any particular reason, or is it just vanished, like me? Well, for Free, his art is his work, so unless of course he's just been had too many commissions and he's stayed off streaming just to get through them. I draw pencil guidelines and then don't stick to them. Who were we talking about? 3D and MTS Wood. Apparently also have disappeared. It's got nothing to do with... It's not my fault. Wasn't me. I have to remember that camera's there. I keep doing that, don't I? Which is not much good. I have to keep my left hand out of the way. I thought I'd try giving you a me view of the artwork. So it's, as you can see, the camera sat just next to my head. Mind you, the other advantage of putting the camera there is I can put a light there and it doesn't reflect into any of our eyes. Yeah. As I say, we're not having chance to really well, I guess I've had the chance. I've been too tired to bother to watch any streams for the past while. I hadn't really noticed that they weren't streaming. Pretty. I really enjoyed watching MTS do the lathe work. It's it kind of always fascinated me. You know, somebody taking what is effectively a block of wood and a chisel, and out comes a bowl or a cup or something like that. You are... well, I have nothing to do with the Illuminati, but there again, even if I did, I would be saying I didn't, so say that how you will. Hmm. Bit too much information there, Claire, but okay, no problem. I don't know how long I'm going to be continue streaming for. I might go well 10, I might stop early, but yeah, you're welcome to come back if I'm still around. This pen here, I'm really using this pen too cool, to be honest. But I'm really not, really not feeling like sort of taking risks at the moment. Okay, that should be enough to erase that line. If anybody that's watching and was wondering why I was erasing the line, because the regulars will already know. When you apply pyrography over the top of like a pencil mark or any form of mark, you effectively put a glaze over the top, like varnishing it, so the line is made permanent. And if it's a dark line, as the line that was darker than I wanted the actual colour to be, it would be forever immortalised and never made lighter, not without sort of surgery on the wood. So erase it and then apply pyrography where it was, and I don't get that effect. Not greatly happy with what I've done with the chin. Let's see if I can tweak it a little bit. Do what is effectively the reverse of a rim light. Rim light being where light sort of creeps around the edge of an object. So if it's backlit, it creeps around the edges. You can see like sort of a halo around things. And depending, that's if it's a strong light. If it's less of a strong light, you just see light edges. Well, I'm kind of doing the reverse of that because I'm doing the dark bit. So even though the face is strongly lit, I'm kind of cheating and putting a dark edge where actually there isn't one and shouldn't be one. But you kind of expect it to be there even though it's not and shouldn't be. So quite often in art you do things that you shouldn't really do because they look better than if you didn't do them. I've actually made that line a little bit too sharp on one side, well, on the chin side, so I need to just blend it out a little bit. Effectively I can't do much true blending, so what I'm actually doing is just darkening this side of the line a little bit, spread it out really. Okay. And I kind of have to do something with his nose as well now, because that also has got a pencil mark in it. Originally the intent was to do a black or a dark, very dark background, and then sort of these areas which I've just sort of outlined would show up as being white on black, and when you change your mind you then have to deal with the consequences. I don't actually have to do much here because effectively your eye will fill it in, so I can get away with small gaps like that. Your eye will see where it's meant to be. I could probably do with a little bit more colour, not much, just a little touch, just up here, the edge of the muzzle, and just under where the mane starts. This is kind of his eyebrow, his right eyebrow. This is one time where, I mean, the pen, as I said, I'm running the pen a lot cooler than I normally would, but it makes it a lot slower to colour, and so I can sort of just do a very small amount of additional colour and just layer it on top if I want it darker, and so I don't overshade. Yeah, so it's quite a subtle change, but enough to see. That looks okay at this end. Camera's not picking up quite as good. It's probably just the reflections. Actually, if I do that, you can. I know it's out of focus slightly, but you can see the edges now, which you couldn't see before. Yeah, back to hair. I've now done the main bits there. I don't really want to do much more with the chin. Yeah, don't really want to do much more with it, he says, as he's about to do a bit more with it. This shadow I want to soften off slightly on the lower jaw. It's there because the upper muzzle, these sort of areas, actually overlaps the chin, so they are in shadow. But then, of course, it's not so much of a hard edge shadow, especially with it being fur. It softens off, and I've got it a little bit too hard edged at the moment. I need to turn this up a bit. Okay, it's only a subtle effect, but softening it off does contribute to making it look rounded, which of course it sort of is as it comes down around the side of the jaw. But on something like fur, you very rarely get a really hard edge. You might get it on concrete or something like that, piece of paper, but not on natural objects. So yeah, more fur. This is one of those pieces I could leave at this point. I could just say, you know what, it's done. It's 80% done in actual fact, or I think it's 80% done. I'm not fantastically happy with this area, but it is a viable and workable picture as it is. There's a little bit of odd angling. The darkness implies curves and edges, and it's kind of a bit of an abrupt transition here. We should look more curved, so it kind of looks to come like that quite sharply in this area here. No, I don't think so. LDLH, I was contemplating making a really dark background. It's easier to do really dark backgrounds on things with sharp edges. So around his face and down here wouldn't be a problem. Doing a dark background around here would be really hard now. I guess what I should have done if I'd seriously wanted to have done that was to do a lot of that first, but then what I'd be doing is transitioning from a pyrograph pen to a scalpel to finish off the lines, because you'd need to scrape them into the darker background. But no, the power in the picture is kind of that there is nothing there. I suppose I could do some background like leaves or something, but it'd be a real fuzzy background. I don't want to take anything away from the face. Putting something over here would sort of do that. That's why the black background would have been kind of ideal. And if I was doing this as a monochrome airbrush, for example, it definitely would have used a black background. And he's kind of looking off. He's either looking into space, just out across the plains, or he's studying something, food. One of the photographers do it as well, actually. Space is actually quite powerful, not having something in a particular place. A lot of photographers, if they're photographing a profile like this, you also do it with things like trains, cars and stuff. You leave space for them to move into because it looks like there's more movement. With something like this, it sort of focuses you more into the image. Too close. I know what you mean, LDLH, and it's kind of like the elephant in that respect, I suppose. Where's the elephant? Salute to sunset. But this one's it's not such a close-up as on this. The elephant isn't such a close-up. It's more of a distance shot type of idea than this. This is a real extreme close-up. If you tried to do savannah in the background, it would have to be sort of real, you'd be doing this sort of thing way in the background, with next to no detail in here at all anyway, just because the intent would be so far away that you don't see, you know, these grass things. And this is kind of a bit of artistic license. You know, in theory they're probably about 2 feet tall if you were at that sort of distance, for them to look like that, but it sort of looks right. You know, again, it's one of these things you sometimes do things because they look right, not because of the realistic. So if you imagine having taken a photograph like this, that anything in the background would be so blurred out that you really wouldn't see it. It'd just be sort of blotches of colour. You've seen that sort of thing. I guess you could. I mean, it's not a photograph. It's a pyrographed image. You could do some background in there. You could make it sharp. Depends on where you put the horizon. We're level with the eye, so our sight line is sort of crouched down by the lion, if you like. Probably more likely sort of crouched down 60 meters away with a telephoto lens, but which kind of would put the horizon up here, not any lower, unless of course he was on top of a rock, or you know, looking down a canyon or something. But I'm kind of manufacturing scenarios there. I don't really feel it to add something. It's one of those that less is more, he says, adding more. I'm going to carry on here. By the way, thanks for the suggestion. I mean, it's great to have the suggestions, and sometimes it'll prompt different thoughts and things like that. So yeah, carry on. Still don't like the shape. The shape's not right. Although I said which, it probably is. It probably is, because of course it's the chest area, and then the shoulder. We're into the shoulders, and that's where the left leg originates from, around sort of down here. So we do have that sort of curve. It just strikes me as a little bit too pronounced at the moment. yeah, so just colouring, adding more darkness in this sort of area here, just shaping the shadows a little bit more. The lighting effect on this actually is quite good, just the position of the lighting actually sort of makes it look more realistic. When I actually put the shadow in, I made it probably a little bit darker than I should have done. Actually, I've made it a lot darker than I should have done, and it's made it quite difficult to match the rest in. But the weird thing is just the angles that you're looking at that and the reflections actually make it look better. But if I just bring it up a little bit, it's this bit of shadow here that's actually caused me the most problems in trying to match against that. And blend out for me. Where previously when I said sort of start light and you can you know, with a light colour you can always darken it with pyrography is an instance where I should perhaps have done that. Instead I went to full darkness as you know, as quickly as I could, basically, to save time, but ultimately it may not have achieved what it was originally intended to. This is going to be a hard picture actually to call done, and at which point to actually make that that call. It often is actually for when I've done fur before, you know, with the cats, for example. You're always sort of I'm always. You may do something completely different. I'm always sort of tweaking the fur a little bit and doing, you know, just changing, subtly changing some areas compared to others. And I can see doing this as well. But when you're doing that, it does make it difficult to reach a point where you go, you know what? That's it. With pyrography, technically there is a point where you have to say that, and that's when everything goes black. You know, there's no colour left anyway, it's just all black. It's all carbonised wood. Then, you know, you kind of have to finish then, or at least change tools. You go to the scraper then and make it light. But Fur can be really difficult to know that point. If you're doing a building, it's a lot, you know, something less organic. It's a heck of a lot easier to decide that point. You know, it either is or it isn't done. You don't have such complex shadows and shapes as you get with fur. It's fairly straightforward, straight edges, and it makes it a lot easier to call. I guess what that really says is I ought to practice doing fur more often, and get used to the point at which it means it's done. Sounds a bit breezy outside up here in Yorkshire at the moment. I hope the wind dies before the weekend. Got some work to do. I'm hoping there isn't any wind, because it'll make it a lot harder. What was that game? Okay. Anyone out there who may or may not be watching played Fortress Craft Evolved? That's a new game I've come across, which sort of looks like a cross between Minecraft and Factorio. I wonder if anybody's played it and whether it's any good. Sort of looking at it and thinking it might be worth buying, but it's being £10, it's quite a pricey thing. I guess though, probably I'm talking to myself, which is fine. Do that a lot these days. I've always done it a lot, and I shall probably continue to do so. Let's move down here, darken this off a little bit. probably more a result of that being a little bit too light. Okay. Yeah, I think it looks better. Perhaps we're going a bit too light there. I mean, after all, well, fur does reflect light quite well, and it can look, white even when it's black. But of course, generally speaking, you expect lions to be brown. Which is, in some ways, makes it a good subject for pyrography, because pyrography is brown. Okay, the actual colour on this ear is rather, the inner ear is probably a lot lighter than it should be, which obviously is making it look a little odd. So what I'm doing now is just darkening it off. But doing so using this this writing type pen rather than using a shader, just so that I continue to get fur texture in the ear, so it will look like lots and lots of tiny fine lines. If I use the shader, then you just get like a colour wash and you lose the texture. It might not, in some cases, might not be particularly much different, but I feel it looks better like this with using a pen like this rather than going for the shader. Okay, that colour is now starting to extend and it's starting to look a lot more ear-like than it was before. So I think we will continue with that. Although that wasn't my intention in the first place, but what the heck. Now what we may have to do is come back afterwards with a scalpel and scrape out some hair marks across the ear. So now again, just adding colour, but adding colour with a texture. Inside of the ears is a fine velvety fur, and then you get long hairs which crisscross in front of it. My assumption is that the long hairs are there to act as guard hairs, stop basically things flying into the ears, like insects and things like that. is starting to look better. Ow, this pen is now starting to get a bit hot. Connector is not too bad, just the body of the pen. Okay. One advantage of the heavy duty pens, this isn't. The heavy duty pens have got larger bodies, and therefore they effectively incorporate a little bit more cooling into the body itself. You don't get it heating up quite so much. Yeah, still more work needed on that, but we shall see. I tell you what, I've had enough for today. An hour and a half thereabouts of streaming. It's something I've not done for a little while. I need to stretch my back, I need to get a drink, and I need to go to bed. So I'm going to call it a night. If there's anybody watching, thank you very much for watching. I am going to point out that I have a shop on Etsy which is selling jewellery, and it will have some pyrography in it at some point. I want to make some small pieces. I've got some Christmas decorations, a bit late now, but I've got some Christmas decorations which are reindeer, to put some scenes on and things like that, so they will probably make their way into the shop at some point. but for the moment it's principally jewellery. So recommend you check it out. I would, it's my shop, but I think there's some nice, like that there, candy cane, really nice sort of intricate design and some really lovely colours, which you get with chainmail jewellery. So thank you all for watching. I'm not sure if I'll be on tomorrow night. It really depends on work and workload and when I finish work and tea and things like that. I'm going to try and do some more streaming as we come up to Christmas, but I'm not really in a position to promise it at the moment. So keep an eye out for tweets or messages from Twitch. If you want to follow me on Twitch or Twitter, details are below the stream window, or the follow is below the stream window anyway, but the Twitter's down there as well, at Zaragonart. Then you'll get a notice when I do go live again, hopefully tomorrow, but no promises. Thanks everybody, have a good evening, and I will hope to see you again on the next stream. Bye for now.